It's kind of crazy to think that 2016 was 10 years ago because that's actually when I started posting my makeup tutorials here on YouTube. Earlier this year in January, I saw a bunch of people posting some 2016 throwbacks on Instagram and I wanted to do my own little take on that. So I thought it'd be fun to pull up one of my old full face tutorials from 2016 and recreate it today. And this video is actually my very first full face video I posted on YouTube because at that time I did just so many like single eyeshadow looks. This should be fun. Let's get into it.
Okay, so today I'm going to do kind of just like a chit chat, get ready with me. I have to work tonight, so I figured why not film the whole makeup process. Okay, let's do the makeup. I'm gonna start
straight into it. I like it. So I just did my skincare about 2 hours ago and my skin feels pretty hydrated right now. In this video, I said my skin was feeling dry that day. So I feel like right now I don't need to put a moisturizer on because I did earlier. And then I just went ahead and primed my eyes with the MAC Paint Gently Paint Pot and a loose translucent powder, which is literally like still the same way I prime my eyes, which is like slightly different products now. This feels so wrong to me right now just to go straight into eyes. Like normally I have my eyebrows done, I'll do my base done, then I do a tiny bit of eyeshadow right now, if anything. But we are going 2016 full glam today. Like I said, I do prime my eyes in a similar way. So I'm going to apply the Rare Beauty eyeshadow primer. And I'm going to apply kind of a lot of this. I'm actually running kind of low, but this one is my favorite eyeshadow primer. I've been using it religiously for like 2 or 3 years now. This one is my go-to. And this one I like too because it has a little bit of a tint to it, but nothing too intense. Like that MAC Paint Gently Paint Pot has a very heavy base to it where it's really going to cover up like any discoloration, whereas this one is a bit more of a thinner formula.
Spun Loose translucent powder. This is the Balm. I'm using a...
We need to keep track of how many times I say the bomb in this video and just use that word to describe products. In that video, I took the Air Spun Loose powder that I remember just smelled like grandma is the best way to describe it. So I'm gonna take another powder that's very smelly. Some would say this smells like grandma, but this is the Huda Beauty Loose Powder in Pound Cake. This is my favorite powder for setting my eyes. So it's funny how I still do the same exact technique of setting my eyes for eyeshadow. And what I do too is I just tap out any creases that might have formed in my crease from that primer before I set it, and then just taking that powder and dusting a light layer on. And now my eyes are primed and ready for shadow.
For eyeshadow, I'm just going to do like a basic thing. I'm using the Anastasia Shadow Couture palette. This is probably my favorite eyeshadow palette. Like if I could only use one palette for the rest of my life, it would be this palette.
It's a bold statement. I say I'm gonna do a basic look, and I do my version of a basic look from 2016. And this was a very, very typical eyeshadow look for me, which is why I called it basic, but it really is like, it's a pretty glam eyeshadow look. And in that video, I used the Anastasia Beverly Hills Shadow Couture palette, which truly was a palette that I loved for so long. So since I'm trying to do a somewhat similar look, I'm actually gonna use my palette with Sigma, because in my palette, I have these beautiful neutral brown shades that are exactly what I would use to recreate this kind of look now in 2026.
I'm gonna take Soft Peach. I'm gonna put that in the crease.
There we go. So going into my palette with Sigma, I'm gonna take Basic on a Sigma E35, which is just like a fluffy blending brush. And just like I said in the video, I'm going to blend that in my crease. So for me, this Basic shade is like my perfect transition shade. I can wear this shade alone like this just to add a little bit of color in my crease, or just use it as my transition shade like I am today, where I'm gonna layer more shadows on top of it.
Now I'm going to take a Luxie 229 tapered blending brush, and I'm taking the shade Morocco.
And I really do put that throughout my entire crease. So going back to my palette, I'm going to take a Sigma E25 in the shade Schmugula. And this is a warmer medium brown shade. So again, I'm going to apply this pretty much throughout my entire crease. I'm going to be a little bit more precise than I was in the video. So I'm actually going to start more on my outer crease here because this is where I want the most pigment. It is just crazy how much my makeup style has changed. I mean, again, this was 10 years ago. I was 19 years old in this video. Wild. I remember at this age, I was just like absolutely in love with makeup. I was pretty new at working at Ulta. I ended up working there for about, I think 4 years total. So in this video, I was about 1.5 years into that. And then after I worked at Ulta, I worked at Sephora for a while. So like I was just in love with makeup. I'll go back to a little bit more basic and use that to soften out this edge of Schmugula. It's just funny to think how much my life just revolved around makeup at that point. I mean, I would work at Ulta and Sephora. I would spend my off time filming makeup videos. This is when I was doing eyeshadow tutorials just for fun, really. Like, I started the YouTube channel because people would ask me how I did my eyeshadow tutorials. So I was just kind of simply sharing, here's how I do my eyeshadow. And that's kind of how I've always been too. Like, I just like to share my knowledge and I like to share what I know, what I'm good at. I do feel like I'm wearing more eyeshadow than I am at that point in the video though. Whoops. But also another plus about doing your eyeshadow first is that you're able to clean up all these edges later on with your foundation or makeup wipe, even your concealer.
E30. I'm gonna take the color Fudge, which is this, the dark brown right there. I'm gonna focus that on the outer corner-ish of the eye.
I'm using Sigma brushes in this video. Clearly, I still love Sigma and the brand. I have a freaking eyeshadow palette and an eyeshadow brush set with them too. But at this point, I'm using a Sigma E30, so of course I have to use a Sigma E30. And I'm gonna grab the shade of Cold Brew and add that to the entire outer part of my eye. So I kind of just stamped it right in this outer V area. I loved a deep outer corner. If my outer corner wasn't deeper than the rest of my eye, I was not happy. Like, it was just my preferred eyeshadow shape for sure.
Okay, so I have a package coming from Sigma Beauty today. I'm so excited. They emailed me, I think her name's Elizabeth, and she's like, hi, I found your Instagram and your YouTube and I want to send you some stuff. And I flip shit. Oh man, like Sigma Beauty is like the makeup brush brand of life. Their brushes are incredible. And I just want, like, I don't know what they sent me though, which is the exciting part. Like, it's like Christmas.
That's really fucking cool. Wow, to think that that was a point before I even received my first Sigma PR package, and today I have an eyeshadow palette and an eyeshadow brush set with them. Wow, that's cool. That's cool. Anyways, still adding Cold Brew to the outer part of my eye. It's funny that I used a pencil brush for this step because this is not really the brush I would use for this kind of step right now. Normally I use this for like my lower lash line or something, but like it's working totally fine, clearly. I just have to go back to my blending brush to really blend it out.
I'm gonna take Noir, which is just the black.
And then I deepen it up even more with a black shadow. All right, with the pencil brush.
Morphe N562 brush. It's like a little tiny brush for blending in those little areas.
Here's what's kind of funny about my technique here is that, like, back in 2016, there wasn't a lot of good small brushes. So I had to use one brush to like pack on the shadow and then another small brush to blend out the shadow. Whereas nowadays I have brushes that can do like both steps in one for me. So for this step, I'm gonna use a Sigma E27, which is just a smaller version of the E25 I was using earlier. And for my black shadow, I'm gonna go into the Natasha Denona Mini Eye Sculpt palette. This is the original one, and just take a little bit of this black shadow on the tip of the brush, deepening up the outer corner even more. I can't believe I'm using a straight black shadow on my eyes right now. Like, nowadays when I use black, it is only for liner purposes. Like, I never do this nowadays. But like I said, I loved a deep outer corner. So I laid down that first black. Now I added a little bit of schmoogala to this brush too, just to help blend out some of those edges of the black. This is something I didn't really do in the first video. It also looks like I did more of a rounded shape back then, where now I do, I don't know, I guess it's slightly more of a winged out shape. Eyeshadow placement is so different right now than it is then. Whoops, okay, I'm already doing it different.
Jump around to my face. For my primer, I'm using the Urban Decay Pore Perfecting Primer.
A pore filling primer, perfect. I vaguely remember that Urban Decay primer potion, but I have been using a pore filling primer nowadays, almost just, yep, there it is, dropped it. It's a Smashbox, a pore vanishing one. I'm just gonna use that and press it into my skin right here on my cheeks, and then I like to do my chin as well, because this is where I have some rough skin texture.
I'm gonna mix two using the Estee Lauder Double Wear and the Too Faced Born This Way. I love these two foundations and they're bomb. Great, I'm gonna dry it.
I mixed together two of like the fullest coverage foundations, Estee Lauder Double Wear and Too Faced Born This Way. I don't even really own any like full coverage foundations anymore. I'd say the most coverage I have is like medium coverage. I mean, this is medium buildable for sure. So I'm gonna use this foundation. This is a Fenty Soft Lit Foundation. I'm gonna use my light shade 120, and I might mix a little bit of 150 in it. So in the video, I used a sponge to blend out my foundation, but I'm gonna use my favorite foundation brush, which is the BK Beauty 115. But am gonna layer up this foundation to try to give myself more of a fuller coverage today because we're going full beat, baby. Funny story about this foundation brush. So I think I posted in a video recently how much I love this foundation brush. Maybe it was like my Details by Tati one, I don't know. But BK Beauty saw my video and they sent me over 3 more of this foundation brush and I was like, oh my gosh, thank you. But like, I only have one face. I don't need a million foundation brushes, right? So I texted my sister because I was gonna see her that day and I was like, hey, do you need a foundation brush? Because BK Beauty just sent me a couple more of my favorite one, you know, to see if she needs one. And she was like, yeah, sure. You can see I'm using the edge of this brush to clean up my eyeshadow like that. Again, just another reason why I love this brush. So anyways, I gave her one of these brushes and she texted me the next day and she's like, what kind of sorcery is in this foundation brush? Like my makeup went on so smooth or something. And I was like, I told you, it's the best foundation brush. Because she actually just bought the Soft Lit foundation the other day. We went to Ulta together and she's like, I need a new foundation. I was like, I got you. So really, I just got my sister hooked on my foundation routine. It's so funny looking at that self-tan. Like I would be self-tanned pretty much 24/7. And I'd say just now within the last year or two, I have finally started to like accept my natural pale skin tone. I actually saw Kelly Gooch just did a video about like older trend she's leaving behind and she did a whole little segment on self-tan and I honestly related to like every single word she said. Am I gonna add any more eyeshadow or is that the eye look? I'm worried about, there's nothing on my eyelid right now. I don't remember what happens. I don't know what happens next. I watched this earlier but I already forgot.
My Urban Decay Naked Skin Concealer. I'm just gonna cover up any spots that are still kind of showing through.
So I do still use another concealer on my spots that are peeking through, and for that I've been using the NARS Soft Matte Concealer for years and years. Let me show you this one because it's pretty much empty. This is my second one that I have panned completely. I think I'm at like 1 a year right now because this is my favorite full coverage concealer for any spots on the face. So I've really just been like dipping my brush in this and just like picking up whatever I can, whatever's left over. Like this is so satisfying to finish this. Honestly, this pimple is bugging me, but not many more spots need covered. Now we arrived at the part that I'm terrified for, which is the under eye concealer.
Using the Maybelline Master Conceal. This is bomb. This is my second tube of it.
Oh my goodness. Oh.
Yes, I do a lot of concealer. So sorry you have to. And on the chin. And I go above the eyebrow. And on the nose.
Oh my gosh. So much concealer. I do think part of my thought process was like I was so tan in the video and so I was like, oh, my lighter concealer will like add the dimension and stuff too. Like if I were to do that much concealer right now, it's not going to do anything because I'm so fair. Because nowadays when I do my under eyes, I would do like mostly eye brightener, a dot or two of concealer, and then blend that out. Do I just do it for like shits and giggles just to like have the feeling again of all the concealer? It's gonna look so cakey. I'm gonna go with my Natasha Denona High Glam Concealer. Here we go. It is all the way out here, huh? Okay, the nose concealer I still do a little bit, but I do a thinner line, not just like a streak with my finger. Forehead I don't do anymore. I don't know what this part was. Why was I highlighting that? I don't know. I might come back to that. I can see why I used the sponge though when I was using so much full coverage product because the sponge really does help kind of soak up a bit. So actually I'm gonna go wet this really quick. BRB. Okay, let's see how this works. I also have not used a sponge to blend out my concealer like this in so long. And again, I guess I'll just clean up this edge. Okay, I mean, I actually don't hate this for blending out the concealer.
I don't like to bake under my eyes just because I am dry. So I'm just setting it. I'm not gonna let it sit there.
Still a lot of powder, Angela. Because we're still doing loose powder, I'm gonna go back to the Huda Beauty one. I'm gonna do that same technique with the sponge. I have not done this technique in so long. This is gonna look so cakey under my eyes. Oh my goodness. Oh yeah. Yep, this feels familiar. My under eye's gonna be so crepey today. My 29-year-old under eyes cannot handle this amount of product that I could at 19 years old.
We're just gonna bronze up. Oh, it smells good.
Okay, so I say I'm bronzing, but I'm like contouring with this bronzer. I also use like 3 bronzers total in this video. Angela. Nowadays, I'm more into a bronzer stick. So in that video, I used a liquid bronzer by Benefit. Today, I'm gonna use the Makeup by Mario bronzer stick in light. And I'm gonna kind of do what I did in that video, I guess, but with this product. Oh my gosh, I'm also terrified because I'm pretty sure there's no blush. We do up here.
I'm gonna set the rest of my face using the Too Faced Primed and Poreless pressed powder.
And then I went ahead and added a pressed powder to my face. I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm gonna take the Chalortte Tilbury one, just on a big brush here, and just set the rest of my face, I guess, pretty much everywhere where I didn't use that Huda Beauty powder. My skin, close up, does not look good, guys.
Might as well go over it with Hula.
More bronzer. So I used like a liquid Benefit Hula, then I used the original Benefit Hula. So I'm gonna grab this Makeup by Mario Soft Sculpt Bronzer in Light. And we're adding more bronzer because it's 2016 and we bronze. Also, I'm like using a contour brush to bronze, where you should be using a fluffier brush like this.
I'm gonna contour my nose using Hula and a small little brush. I have to contour my nose.
I don't really contour my nose anymore. I just kind of take some bronzer just like down the side really just to add some color. I don't really need to like add the whole lines and everything. And I was just never good at it either.
I'm gonna take my Airspun again with the Beauty Blender.
More powder? My skin feels so dry right now. Oh my gosh. You said you were dry earlier. Supposed to bake? Why? Why are we baking? Okay, we are baking, going back in with my Huda Beauty powder on that sponge here. I have not done this in so long. This just feels silly. This is silly. Yep, this will give me the chiseled cheeks that I needed with no blush, just powder and bronzer. Also, my dry textured skin down here is gonna be like, why are you putting so much powder right there?
I did my eyebrows. I'm just gonna use Anastasia Dip Brow Pomade in dark brown.
This is the other part I'm really scared for. Just the blocky, dark, filled in brows, no brow strokes, just filled in.
Okay, my eyebrows are on and they look like a man. So I'm going to...
So my eyebrows right now, I did get microblading. I think it was like 2018, 2019. So in this video, I had no microblading. That was my natural brows. And I just drew on these like really thick, dark brows. So back in the day, I was using a dark brown on my eyebrows, but I still use Anastasia brow products to this day. I still think they're amazing. I use the Brow Wiz and the Brow Pen in medium brown all the time together. Yeah, I don't even own any kind of brow pomade anymore. That's just not the type of product that I use for my brows because I want something fluffier and lighter for sure. But I'm gonna go in with a heavy hand and just try to do the block eyebrows. All right, think heavy thoughts. Need to be a lot darker up here. That's the best I can do with the brow pen. If I had some kind of like pomade, then I could definitely get them darker and more intense, but that's pretty good with a pencil. And that's all I did on the brows, huh? No clear brow gel, no nothing. Okay.
I'm gonna use this Ofra Cosmetics 3D Pyramid Egyptian Clay Bronzer, and I've been loving this so much. They sent this to me, and it's like bronzy. Like, you want bronzy, this is bomb.
Bronzer number 3, BT Dubs. And this was more of a glowy bronzer. Am I really gonna add a third bronzer? Sure. For a slightly more glowy bronzer, I'm using all Makeup by Mario, apparently. But I do really like this one. I like Makeup by Mario's bronzing products. It's the Soft Sculpt Transforming Skin Perfector. So this one's like a little bit of a gradient where you have a matte bronzer and it kind of goes into a highlighter. So I just swirl all 3 together and we are still bronzing. I literally can't even add this much bronzer with this fair of a skin tone because it's just gonna look so orange, honestly. But again, there was no blush, just bronzer and highlighter.
Is on the Sigma pencil brush again. I'm gonna take Morocco.
All right, we are back to the eyes. On my pencil brush, I'm gonna go back to Schmugler, and I ran this across the entire lower lash line. Yeah, I think I just did this eyeshadow shape because like this is just how I would do a glam eyeshadow look now. But I'm connecting the lower lash line into this outer corner out here. And then I use too big of a blending brush to blend out my lower lash line. So I'm gonna go back to my Sigma E27 with more of that basic shade and use that to soften out Schmugula. And honestly, I used to be pretty messy and sloppy with my lower lash line. And I think part of that was just using brushes that were way too big for that area, but I am kind of making this pretty smoky like I used to.
I'm just going to take a flat definer brush and I'm going to take Fudge again. I'm just going to kind of lightly press it along the lower lash line, but I'm not going to smoke it out like I would normally.
All right, so for that step, I'm going to go back to the black shade in the Natasha Denona palette on a Sigma E21 and really just stamp that across my entire lower lash line. This is kind of still a step I do today. I just use a dark brown now, not really a black shadow for this. But this is a pretty dark, intense look, so. Gonna blend that out a little bit with my E27.
Just the Urban Decay liner in Black Velvet. I'm just gonna line my top lash line.
Wait, did you put anything in your waterline? Why do I not line my waterline? Oh no. And there's no other eyeshadow on my eyelid. I just stopped there, huh? So I used a black Urban Decay liner to line my top lash line. I'm gonna use this Julep eyeliner that I have on hand. This is also a step I have not done in so long. Just lining my top lash line with a black liner. What? I'm gonna go back to that Sigma E21 just to smudge this out a little bit so it's not an ugly line. I don't know why I didn't put black liner in my waterline, because that's totally what I would do now just to even out all the black shadow. I'm gonna do it. This is me making an executive decision. If you're wearing this much black liner, just add it to your waterline, might as well. I'll make everything look a little bit more cohesive.
Mascara's on, and for lashes, I'm gonna use Luxie Lash Damn Gina lashes with my Socialize eyelash glue, and I will be right back.
Back in 2016, false eyelashes were my life. I would literally not do a full face of makeup without a pair of false lashes. So I remember always not really caring about what mascara I used, but really caring about what falsies I was wearing. And nowadays it's actually kind of the opposite, where I don't even wear fake eyelashes anymore, even when I go out, but I care a lot about my mascara and how my natural lashes look. So we flip-flopped. So I'm just going to apply a light layer of mascara. This is the Maybelline Sky High. All right, here's where we're at. I popped on a pair of lashes. These are the Auric Viceroy lashes. It's the half lash because their lashes come with 2 pairs in it. So you have a shorter half lash here, but actually on me, they're honestly more of like a 3/4, almost a full lash, but then underneath it, there's like an even more glamorous style, but even the half lash is like perfect. Enough glam for me. Which again is such a funny thing to say because back then I loved big lashes. I came out with my own lash brand in 2020. I did end up closing that lash brand last year in 2025, but you guys know, like, I was a big lash girly. I loved my lashes, but honestly, like, since I closed my lash brand, The Bright Lashes, I really like stopped wearing lashes completely. It's crazy.
The Over Cosmetics liquid lipstick in Bel Air.
And then I just go straight in with a matte liquid lipstick. No lip liner, no moisturizer, just matte liquid lipstick. Okay, I don't even think I own a matte liquid lipstick anymore. There's no way. I think this is gonna be the closest thing I have to a matte liquid lipstick. It's the Anastasia Beverly Hills Lip Velvets. These are definitely more of a moussey velvet texture. They don't dry down super duper matte like liquid matte lipsticks back in the day. Oh my gosh. But this one looks kind of close to what I was wearing. This is the shade Peachy Nude. And I guess I'm gonna go straight in with this with no lip liner. Wow. Oh my gosh, there's like no definition to my lips. Oh, this product isn't even that drying, but normally I would put something like hydrating underneath it, but I'm just going with the flow here, you know?
The Anastasia Beverly Hills Glow Kit in That Glow. And we're gonna get our glow on because
brace yourself.
I'm gonna mix Dripping in Gold and Bubbly together.
The way I am applying it on my entire freaking cheek, you can see it on like all my pores on the apple of my cheek right there. Oh my gosh, and the brush I'm using, I actually still have one right here. It's the Anastasia A23. You should be applying highlighter right here on the tippity top of your cheekbone with the tip of the brush, but instead I just dunked it in there and went So let's do it. Those Anastasia Beverly Hills glow kits though, I wish they would bring them back. I swear they would do so good these days. This is a highlighter I've been loving. It's NARS Eros. I guess we gotta do a little throwback and use the same A23. If I do the same technique, do I just like send it? Oh my gosh. Like it was so much highlighter. Oh yeah, I'm really gonna pile this up to just like accentuate my texture and pores because clearly that's what I wanted. I vividly remember taking a picture in my parents' bedroom one time. It was like a little mirror selfie. And I remember my highlighter just looked at this time like on fleek. It was a stripe of highlighter on my face. And I remember posting that picture and my sister told me, she's like, Angela, you have a stripe of highlighter. And I'm like, you don't know what you're talking about. My highlighter looks amazing right now. Yeah, I used to bring highlighter on my apples and my cheeks here. And then look at the tip of my nose and my lip. Why is there so much highlighter on the tip of my nose? Then upper lip. This was before I had lip filler. I do have a little bit of lip filler right now, but it's like, honestly, it's pretty subtle. And I do still do this a bit, but like, fuck man.
We did it.
She's done.
Yeah. Let me know. I feel like I've been filming forever.
Same.
Let me know if you guys enjoyed this type of video. Yeah, that's all I got for you. I don't have some fancy conclusion or anything. Have a good day. Thank you for watching. Bye.
And there you go. That was like before I had my entire intro and outro for YouTube of the same things I would say every single video. But I think this is it. This is the 2016 makeup look and I do not like how it looks and I knew that coming into it. My makeup just looks so cakey and heavy right now with the amount of powder on my face, the baking that I said I didn't want to do yet still did, the 3 bronzers, the overwhelming amount of highlighter, the lack of blush, and just like what I really want to do is take blush and like blending shades and create a better gradient on my cheek, but no, it's just so harsh with this like bronzer that I was like low-key contouring with. The eyeshadow's not terrible. I don't like that I didn't put any kind of shade on my eyelid. Like right now I really want to put a shimmer shade. Let me tell you what I would do. Go back to my palette, take the shade at Champagne Problems, pop that all over your lid. You're good. But like the eyeshadow looks not bad, it just doesn't feel complete to me without something on the lid. But this was honestly super fun to recreate because I have not worn this much makeup on my face in a very long time. The eyeshadow shape is definitely different. I couldn't get it to look that way. I just like kept blending. I definitely blend more than I used to. But I had so much fun filming this video, so I hope you guys enjoyed watching it and I'll see you in the next one.